Face the Music, a pre-ELO song-by-song podcast, is sponsored by fine Patreoners like Rob Eben.
This is Face the Music, a pre-ELO song-by-song podcast. Episode -089. Take My Hand.
If I'm losing you, tell me now, don't let it rest. A love like that's no good, knowing I'm your second best. Take my hand and tell me now. Please understand, without your love, I am not a man.
Thank you, Sing.
Hi, I'm Eric Winsenson.
And I'm Eric Paul Johnson.
And Mike Sheridan's Lot wants us to take their hand. I don't know where they want us to take their hand to. Probably someplace where they can put it on ice.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to play their instruments if we take their hands.
That's true, but normally you would put those on ice because, well, they're probably going to want them again at some point.
Yeah. I better study up on stitching then, because it's been a long time since I pieced a human back together.
Yeah, they're easy to take apart, but not so easy to put back together.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
That's the frustrating thing about them. At least with Legos, you get instructions, or if you've put it together once, you have a pretty good idea of how to put it back together again, but humans a little more difficult, so I don't know about this intelligent design stuff if you can't just put a person right back together.
Well, anyway, I'm not sure if this was a cover or if it was written specifically for Mike Sheridan's Lot. They got some outside songwriter that they brought in and did the work on this one, because it is a bit different than what they've had before.
And I can't find anything out. I saw on some site, I think it was Songfacts, that it said this is Roy Wood's first song that he ever wrote and was recorded. And that's wrong. This one was written by, I got the record label right here in front of me on the internet, and it says it was written by C. Stanton and M. Walker. I tried doing a Google search for C. Stanton and M. Walker. I got Stanton and Walker Law Offices. I got Walker versus Stanton, case number EDCV. As you can imagine, without the first names, I'm going to come up with a lot of Stanton and Walker stuff that aren't songwriters. And doing a search for the song, Take My Hand, it's not like you're searching out a song called Stilt Chicken's Theme or even Dr. Heckle and Mr. Jive. There's a lot of songs that are titled Take My Hand. So just typing in Take My Hand song also got me nowhere. So I don't know if somebody wrote this for them. I don't know if there's like a songwriting bank where people just submit songs and bands just kind of flip through. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do that one.
Is.
Okay, I kind of thought maybe they might.
In fact, that's how a lot of bands find songs to do if they don't have their own stuff.
Right.
They actually have kind of like that. It's not really a bank, but it used to be you could go to conventions and find it. Now they usually just scroll through what people have.
Yeah. So I don't know who these people are. I looked and I looked. So did Winsenson, and we couldn't find anything that said this is Mike Sheridan remaking an older song again.
Regardless of who wrote it, though, this is so far the best one I've heard from Mike Sheridan's Lot. I noticed it was also, we're not looking at some independent label or something, we're looking at Columbia EMIs, so they've got some actual recording behind it. Probably some actual real production work behind it, not George Martin, of course, but somebody there.
No.
Who is going to have a little bit more experience.
According to Mike Sheridan, they did record at Abbey Road.
That makes sense. That makes complete and total sense. And the result is great. I mean, this is their best song. I mean, I can see where their influences are still there. There's a bit of a Ringo drum break part in there. They are sounding more like their own band. However, I can hear not as much Beatles influence, but they sound a bit more like Manfred Mann, just without the lisping.
Yeah.
But that's a good thing. That means that they're kind of breaking away a bit and not just trying to do the same Mercy Beat thing that they've been doing before.
Yeah, I'd say this still sounds really Beatle-y, but not ripping off the Beatles. I do think they're starting to merge off into their own direction away from the Beatles, but the Beatle influence is still heavy here. I don't hear parts in the song where I say, well, they yoinked that from that Beatles song, like some of the much earlier Mike Sheridan and the Knight Rider records. There's a part in here that really is straight up very Beatle style. The songs that really are Lennon and McCartney, because Paul and John said usually they come in with a fully done song, and maybe Paul or John will suggest a word or two. But there are some where Lennon writes a big chunk of it and Paul writes a verse or two of it, so they mesh their songwriting skills and their song abilities. Because sometimes in John's more dour or cantankerous kind of songs, Paul will get a verse and chime in with his sunshine and lollipops voice in the middle of all that. And there's part of the song where it really does that.
You're the only girl I've ever longed for. So please don't tell me that you love me till you're sure.
This would have worked for the Beatles if they did other people's songs that weren't remakes. I could really hear where John would sing that part and Paul would sing that one verse that's all sunshiny. I like the song. I don't think it's great. It doesn't get me very excited, but I like it. I think it's a perfectly fine song. I like their doo-doo segment. It's nice to hear Roy Wood's voice coming in here. He gets some singing time.
Take my hand and tell me now, please understand.
And it's good to hear that the band, while still sounding very Beatle-y, is clearly moving away from just copying the Beatles.
It's definitely an improvement over what they did before. I'm looking forward to hearing Roy's song.
Yes, that's the B-side, and that'll be next week.
Yeah, because I actually thought, because this was so much different than what had come before it, that it was actually the Roy song. Now, it's Mike Sheridan singing lead on this, isn't it?
Yeah, Mike and Roy.
Yeah, that does not sound like Roy's voice at all.
Yeah, it's Mike and Roy. They switch off. I mean,
okay.
It's obvious when Roy Wood sings.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
So, it's a departure. I like some of their earlier stuff, but this is the first one where I actually see them as a band separate from any other band, having some personality to where I'd actually, if I was around at the time, I'd say, hey, I want to buy this record. In fact, I'm thinking, hey, I want to buy this record. And then I saw how much it goes for. And, well, it's not that bad. It's only about $50 to $60, but
yeah,
it's not terrible.
No, it's not hundreds of dollars. But I myself might have a hard time spending $60 for a 45. Unless it's really, really cool.
Well, yeah. I have a reputation.
Yes. How much did you spend for that Residence Christmas single?
$2,000.
Your wife loves you very much.
Yes, she does. And before anybody asks, yes, I asked permission. I do not do a $2,000 purchase of anything without asking the wife. Okay, well, we're past the song, so we're going to just cut it off here.
Yeah, they changed their name to Mike Sheridan's lot. I have an interview clip with Mike Sheridan explaining why, so there's really no reason for us to go into that.
Got something to say about Take My Hand? Then call the telephone line voicemail.
623-850-3375. Call now.
Great moments in Electric Light Orchestra history.
We'd actually changed our name, as you may have noticed, to Mike Sheridan's lot, because we cut out the Knight Riders because everybody was going for the smaller name, like, you know, the move and the frame and all these. So I said, we'll cut it down to Mike Sheridan, because they used to say, oh, here's Mike Sheridan's lot if we went in, oh, here's Mike Sheridan's lot. So we cut it down, it didn't make any difference whatsoever. No. And through my whole career, I've tried several names of bands in the line, you know, with different lineups, and tried different approaches, and they always X Mike Sheridan. They used to always put it underneath. So I said, there's no point. This is silly.
Enjoy the podcast? Then let us know with the universal expression of love, cash. You get swell extras when you subscribe at patreon.com/ELOpod. At the $1 an episode tier, you can hear shows a week before the rest of the world. And at the $2 tier, you get expanded episodes with bonus material only found at patreon.com/ELOpod. Help a poor man build a pretty dream and give us lots of money at patreon.com/ELOpod.
Well, hey, this is Dr. Troy, and here are my thoughts on Take My Hand by Mike Sheridan and the Lot. The Night Riders, whether I liked their songs or didn't like them all that much, I've liked most of them that I've heard, but they remind me of a great lost garage rock band. And I have to say that at least this song, The Lot, kind of reminds me of a great lost garage rock band. And shouldn't be too surprised with Mike and Roy being the center of this band. In fact, this song, Take My Hand, reminds me of a Lost Outsiders song, particularly the guitar and the vocal harmonies. And again, just like with the Night Riders, I love the vocal harmonies. I don't know whether Mike Sheridan arranged the voices or not, but whoever did with the Night Riders and now with the Lot did a great job. And that kind of, I think, foreshadows in a way the vocal harmonies we would hear later on with ELO. And one more thing. Towards the end of the song, all of a sudden it goes into this great doo-wop style part, and you think the song's over, and then it goes back into the song. Again, that is so brilliant, and I love it. So I'll talk to you next week.
Face the Music, a pre-ELO song-by-song podcast, is a production of Radio Trolla Entertainment, Assorted Deli Meats Amalgamated. You can contact us by voicemail at 623-850-3375 or email us at eloftmpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll read and reply to it on the show. Keep up to date on the show by joining our Facebook group and spread the word by sharing the link or giving us a quick rating on iTunes. Join our YouTube page, the Electric Light Orchestra podcast channel, to hear other goodies. You can financially support the podcast at patreon.com/ELOpod or use PayPal with the podcast's email or send a check or money order to P.O. Box 1932, Superior, Arizona 85173. Next week, episode -088. Make them understand.